All good.
Fantastic. All right. So, Bruno, thank you again for joining us. Do you want to share what you discovered in our last session with related to the install package and the Postman API call?
Sure. Are you guys seeing my screen already?
Yep.
Yes. So last time we were trying to send the payload over here in Post, and it wasn't working because of some permission. So I went to the install package and added all permissions but the delete ones. And after we changed this to everything, it started working. So maybe there's one or two that we were missing in the last test.
Yeah,
And
that's
when
great.
we submitted, it saved the data to the data extension.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a good takeaway just to determine what is the right combination of those permissions to allow for an API call. I think that's a good takeaway, a homework assignment. For anyone who wants to take it on, I'll definitely look into it. Maybe in our next session, we can dive into that a little bit more detail, but good solutioning, Bruno, to get it to work. So fantastic. Do you want to send another API call just now that we can do it live so we can see the whole experience with the auth and the REST call in Postman?
Sure. Give you a little bit of zoom. So this is what we did the last time. Create the credentials, the auth sent here. Uh,
You got your token.
and passing the token to the, and we got this body. So it's instantiated right now.
Got 201 created, looks good. And then if you go back to your data extension, you should see another data. There you go. All right, excellent. Nice job. Fantastic. All right, so now we've validated that connection. Now we know what to replicate on the SSJS side. So we can start moving forward to building out that. So we've got a couple of different options to start with, Bruno. So one of the things that we need to do is we need to encrypt our client ID and client secret. Now we can do that in an email. We need to create an email anyways. And we also need to create a cloud page that's gonna host our, to do this functionality. So I'll leave it up to you. What would you rather start with? Do you want to build a cloud page, or do you want to build the email and do the key work?
Yeah, I think I'll start with the email because the encryption is the part that I think I have a gap in understanding.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so let's start with that. I have a test email created, but I think it'd be better just for us to create one from scratch. It'll just walk us through. We have a basic email design system, which is kind of an end benefit of this, this build. So yeah, let's click into that email folder. And this is where we're going to create a new email. So if you go to the upper right-hand corner, and we're going to create an email message. Now in that, yep, and then we're going to select template. Perfect. Now we have a preset template set up, and it's in that. So if you go into the folders, it's usually sometimes in this UI, you might see a variety of different templates. It's always good to have a template set up in your email design system in a separate folder. So here we've got that template folder. If you click into that, you should have the template in there. Yep, so let's select that. Perfect. Now you can name this email whatever you'd like. And it will save in that folder. You can see it's in the locations email that'll save in that folder automatically. And then you can either hit next or add content. Excuse me. Okay, and just to give you a basic run through of that template, if you hit the code view over there on the right, I'll give you a breakdown of the code. And you can see on the left, it's basically got these 3 UI sections where you can drop your header, body, or footer content. And this template is a template that was built, recommended by Salesforce. So it's got a lot of settings in there that you definitely want to reach out to Salesforce Professional Services when you're building an email template. They have certain settings that are proprietary just to Salesforce. But it has a lot of CSS and certain things that you're setting standards for certain font types, for certain stylings, so that all of your emails, content blocks, which you're just going to be dragging and dropping in your email, will work effectively. So we're not going to go into too much detail here about that, but just wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of that. Fantastic. Let's hit default. And then if you go to the content tab, right above there, yeah. And then if you go to folders, in that folder, we've got a modules folder, which will have all these folders. Yeah, so if you click there. We've got a couple of different options here, and you can just drag these and drop them over. So we can put in a header at the top, and then that should be good. And then you can put a footer at the bottom. Good. And then you can put in a body text left, right below the header. And that we can just put in some generic text copy. Yep, that's already got some generic copy in there. And then last but not least, we have a block for the call to action button. Excuse me. And put that right on the text. Yep, perfect. And if you click on that HTML editor while you're in this block, I think this is set up to work as we were giving a tour yesterday with that redirect to. So there's that syntax already in place for that Cloud Pages URL. When we create our cloud page, we will have a number that we're going to identify when it gets created, and that's what we're going to swap out there. But that should be able to feed in all of the data points that we're looking to feed in there. So that's all looking good. Then you can add a subject line, something test subject or. Perfect. We can hit save. All right, and so now we've got our email. We can add that to our journey when we're ready, but let's do that, the key functionality so that we can convert our keys and be able to use those, that conversion data point in the cloud page. So yeah, let's go to blocks and let's just bring over a code snippet, and you can drop that in right below the text. Yep, that's perfect. Okay, so then if we want to click into that code snippet, we're going to do a %% square bracket. Yeah, and then you can do a couple of returns, and then, yep, perfect. Okay, and so what we want to do is we're going to have these, we've got a couple of values that we know. So let's set some of the values that we do know that we need to encrypt, and that's the client ID and the client secret. Perfect. Yes, if you want to create a variable for client ID, and yeah, and you can just do a single quote. Perfect. And then, yeah. Perfect. And then if you want to go grab those from the install package.
Perfect. Forgot. Sure. Page.
Nicely done. Okay, so those are the values that we want to encrypt. Okay, so let's hit return a couple of times. And then let's open up a new tab and let's search for encrypt AMP script. So let's go to that. Yeah, let's go to the Salesforce developers and see what the documentation is on that. That's our handy guide that we use in the AMP script bootcamp. And then if we scroll down a little bit, we should be able to see what we need to provide here. So it does give us a couple examples. And then if you scroll up to a little bit, it'll just give you a breakdown of what we need to include here. So it's got a section where it gives out all the numbers of the different fields. So if you scroll up just a little bit further, yeah, right above that 1 through 8 section. Okay. So what we need to provide in field 1 is the data that we want to encrypt. So those are the 2 values that you just created. The algorithm, I think it's that set standard we're just going to use from a copying from what was provided. And then items 3 through 8 are where we're going to provide those keys, the symmetric key, the salt key, and the IV key. So yeah, let's scroll down a little bit, and we're just going to copy some of that code. I think the best one to copy, just go down a little further, is one of those. Yeah, let's copy one of those in that second set, either one of those ones, either 1 or 2. Yep, let's copy that. And then we'll go paste that into your content block. Perfect. All right. So the value that we want to encrypt, the first one is that's going to be that @client ID.
Like
Yeah.
this?
And then that looks good. Yeah. And then in your set, you could do encrypt ENC data, and then you could just do like a client as part of that, because we're going to have a different value for each one of those. Yep. Perfect. And then let's do the same thing for, copy that same syntax, and we'll do the same thing for the, um, perfect. Okay. So now we need our keys. And luckily, we do have set up in this environment a set of keys. So why don't we, on line 3, let's create a couple of lines. We're going to add some variables, which are going to be our keys. So there's 3 different keys that we need to create. So you can do, we're going to do a set statement. And you could call this first one at SYM key, and call it a SYM key.
Like this?
Yep,
Why?
SYM. Yep, SYM, and then key. Yep, and then we'll do an equals and then a single quote. And then we'll do the same, we'll do another one for salt, that for a salt key.
Salt like this?
Yep, that looks good. And then we'll do the last one, which is an IV key. Cool. So let's go back to your tab that had the install package, and that's our setup tab, and that's where we're gonna find our keys in setup. So if you go to data management, right under administration, yeah, and then we'll go to key management. We have a couple of keys set up here. We've got a SIM key, a salt key. We've got 2 different IV keys. I was testing this earlier, and for some reason that IV key didn't work because it had an initial vector key type. So still not exactly sure why that didn't work. But for now, what you can do is you can copy the external key for the SIM key. Yeah, and then we can go paste that into your variable in email content. Yep. And then we'll do the same for the salt. And then for the IV, let's use the second IV. Yep. Okay. All right. And then so that then yep, you know the process. Now we just want to copy. Yep. Exactly. The @null just stays the same. Not exactly. That's supposed to be the password, but for some reason the @null doesn't need to be touched. Yep. Just need to. Fantastic. Okay. And then what we can do just to make sure that we've got the settings correct is we can start outputting these values. So after your, yeah, the right, I'm not so sure about the right function in AMP script, but after your bracket %%, if you hit return a couple times, and if you do a %% equals the V function, the letter V, yep, and then an open paren, and then yep, and then it equals %%, perfect. And so let's put in there the client ID, yeah, with the @ sign. Yep, perfect. And then we're going to output the client ID, the client secret, the SIM key, excuse me, the encrypted client ID and the encrypted clients, all of those variables. Yeah. Cool. All right, so let's try previewing that. We might just need to find a date extension for that to work. But we should see, we'll at least see something encrypted to make sure that that's all working. Yeah, so if you go to the date, yeah, and then if you select date extension, and then I think if you try, try clicking on that. That's just a generic. Oh, you created a date extension. Nice. Okay, so we're seeing our client ID and client secret, and we're seeing those encrypted values, the WO. Those are the ones that we're going to use in the cloud pages. So that all looks really good. So the only thing that we want to just validate to make sure that this works before we send it over to the cloud pages is we want to decrypt it. So we should be able to decrypt this, and then it should come back with the same values up above, and that should just validate that because that's what's going to be used in the cloud pages. So yep, if you go up to your tab, and then I think it's probably above, yep, decrypt symmetric, perfect. And I think the only difference in that syntax might just be, yeah, and that second section's a little bit better. So I think it might just be the beginning of it that decrypt symmetric. So if you want to just copy just the decrypt symmetric, you could probably use your same, if you duplicated those. Yeah, exactly. Yep, yep, nice. Yep. Well, that stays the same. You want to keep those. Yep, yep, there you go. And then you want to switch out the variables in line 15 and 17 to so on line 15, instead of client ID, you want to use the encrypt data client ID variable because you are decrypting that variable. Exactly. Yep. 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 It's fantastic. And then you just need to output them. Cool. Nice work. Bruno, you're super fast.
I'm trying to to be faster than the last time.
There we go. So we started out with those client ID and secret. We've encrypted them. And now we proved out this is what the cloud page is going to do. They're going to decrypt those values. So fantastic. Awesome. Okay. So now we've got this cloud page. We've got those values. So I think we can go and build a cloud page and start creating a shell for the landing page. And yeah,
Do you need to pass this in the redirect option?
we're going to set that as a variable in the AMP script section of the cloud page.
But we are not getting this variable from the email. We are just setting as a
No,
step.
no, I mean, you could pass it in the cloud page's URL, but it's going to be something where this functionality is going to use this specific installed package. And so it should be something you should be able to set statically. But to your point, if you ever needed to do a dynamic install package, you could do that for sure. Awesome. All right, so let's create a collection. Cool. And then, yep, create a landing page. Okay. So, I mean, if you wanted to, you could use the layouts. I think it'll give you some options if you wanted to do something at the top. So if you go to the next tab, yeah, so that's not, actually that worked okay. Looks good. Let's try pulling over body text left and see if that worked as well. It's an email footer, but for our purposes, probably fine. There you go. Fantastic. Cool. And then if you want to pull over a block, I think go to the blocks. Yeah. So I guess we could probably pull over a code snippet block and then put that in between the, yeah, cool. All right. And so this is where we're going to want to start off our coding at the top. So we're going to want to use the, the language for, our top section is going to be for AMP script. So yeah, awesome. Okay, so like we had done in our bootcamp, we set a couple of different variables. So for the auth call, we need an auth URL. So that's going to come from the install package. So you can create a yep. And then we need to set all three of our keys because we're going to be setting those encrypted values, and we're actually going to be decrypting them in AMP script in the cloud page. Then that'll give us a value that we can use in our SSJS section. Right? A lot of variables to create. Cool. And now you're going to want to hard code those encrypted IDs. Yeah, I think you have
But
to preview it in order to see it.
yeah,
Yeah.
just want to be sure the order here. It's
Oh,
ideal.
cool. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Why not?
And
Nicely done.
the decryption can do the same, right?
Exactly. Okay, and then we just need the auth URI and the REST-based URI.
Mm,
Okay, and then I'm going to send you the chat. Let's see. So that's documentation for the token walkthrough that we covered in our session. And then this is the developer's guide on where we're going to look for the HTTP post. We're going to need a subscriber key. Yeah.
do we need the brackets over here?
I think it might be helpful. You may not, though. Could try to test that. Okay, so I think that's the key information that we're going to need for at least the auth call. So if we wanted to, we could navigate, yep, creating a SSJS script section. And then if you want to do load the platform,
I don't remember which version. One, two.
yeah, I think try one. I think that's usually, yeah, and then a semicolon after that. Awesome. Yeah, I think if you want to put a semicolon at the end of line 23, that might help. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, so let's go to that documentation for the HTTP. And yeah, so on the left, let's see. Well, the second set of documentation, I think, is going to give us the actual HTTP, the developer's guide. So if you click on that, the second link,
Sorry.
yeah. And then this should be, yep, under that HTTP functions on the left. It is a core function. Yeah. And then we're going to go to post. Okay, cool. And this is where we can copy that syntax, the results. Yeah, and copy all that. That's perfect. Cool. All right. So for the results, the first thing that we're going to need is the URL part. So we do have, we need to convert the variable. Yeah. So um, if you want to go back to the documentation, there's a platform variable conversion to AMP script. So if you scroll down on the left, there's a platform section, platform functions, yeah. And then under AMP script variable functions, sort of at the bottom, AMP script, right under utility, yeah. So yeah, get value. Yeah, so let's copy that syntax. It's going to allow us to convert all those variables. Yeah. Yeah. And then we can just copy that from yeah, cool. Okay. And then, yeah, yeah. And then I think it's the first set of documentation has the token. Yep, yep, good. And I think this, yep, that should, yep, the content type, application JSON, awesome. All right, and then the payload. Yep. Cool. Yeah, you can delete the scope and the account ID.
Should I do this inside the payload or should I get the variable before?
So
Like,
grant, so grant type is fine. So the auth URI is all set for your URL. Um, you've got that set for the URL, so that's working. That's all set. Content type looks good. Payload, um, yes, right. So we need to convert the client ID. Yep.
so I would go this to save in a variable, but would I be able to put this over here? Like something like this? Would this work?
Yep. So you can, oh, I wonder. Yeah. I mean, you could try that. Um,
It doesn't, we just get the variable.
okay. So, all right, cool. So that's cool. We're trying that. Okay. And so that, yeah, we don't need header names and values for an auth call. And then you can delete that in the, yeah, in the post. Now, the one thing we do need to do is we need to stringify the payload. And so it's, yeah, yeah, nice. Okay, that looks good.
I'm
And
gonna
then there's some,
I'm gonna write the payload here so we can see if it worked, okay?
okay, that's good. Okay, so that's all looking good. And now we need to do some specific coding related to generating the token. So this is using the parse JSON function. It's the so after your yeah, okay, done this before.
Um,
So it might be under yeah, try HTTP function. Hmm, it's a platform function for sure, and maybe try yeah, try utility, see if it's in there. There it is, parse JSON.
since I declared the platform here, I wouldn't need this to be repeated over here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a parse JSON core function. It's a good question. Okay, so this this is going to be based off of the results. Yep, and then yep,
Oh,
response. So you've done this before. Excellent. Yep, awesome. And then we need to create another variable after that, which is the token, and that's going to be as token. Awesome. Cool. Oh, looks good. Okay, so it's going to write their status code. It's going to write the response, and it's going to write the payload. Okay, great. Let's hit save. This is all some really good work. And let's hit schedule publish. Excuse me. Okay, now is where the fun begins. An error. Let's go back in there and see.
yeah, I think the first thing we should do is remove that function inside the payload.
Oh, good call. Maybe that might be. It's so finicky. And then you probably don't, there's an extra comma in that second payload, the last field in the payload. So under that client, yep, you probably don't need that. All right, let's try that, see if that helps. Thinking, okay, that might be not a okay. When it's attempting to evaluate a decryption policy and an exception for details.
Sorry. I closed
That's
before you finish.
interesting. Um, so when we're setting that variable down below, we're pulling in the
Ah, yeah,
decrypted.
it's the variable, different name.
Oh, cool. Cool. All right, Bruno, looking good. We've got a token. We've got a lot of functionality here. We've got the client secret. Looks really good. let's publish this. Let's hit save too. Fantastic. So we could try, I don't know if that call to action button will work. Let me think. Let's try it. So if you go to the page prop, yeah. Yeah. You may have to send a test send to yourself, but let's just see.
I can send a test to myself, right?
Yeah, let's see if it works just from clicking it though.
Over here.
You can click it. All right. Well, it looks like it generated a token. Um, awesome. Nicely done. Cool. All right. Well, I mean, I think this might be a good place to stop. And then in the next session, we can just build out the REST functionality like we did in our session yesterday. And I think we'll be in pretty good shape. We'll also add the email to the journey and do an actual, end-to-end send. Looks like you had a data extension we can use for you as a test send as well. But amazing work, Bruno. So it sounds like you've done Cloud Pages before, Bruno, because you're very skilled at this.
Yes. Just a little bit of server-side JavaScript, but yesterday I was practicing the use case.
Practice, practice. Awesome. You're so amazing. Not only do you show up, but you've practiced. That's amazing. Nice job. Any questions from anybody who's attending?
Bruno, you have got the power now. So you already are able to build this, seeing a lot of things in action. Great.
Okay.
I don't see any other
Awesome.
questions, Tim, but this is really helpful. The step-by-step guide kind of thing. Wonderful. Nothing else I see in the chat.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I think we have another builder set up for next time, but also Bruno, if you'd be available, I'd kind of like to see you see this through, and also because you're been good with practicing. But we'll reach out to the network, see if there's another builder for next week, and if not, we'll definitely rely on your expertise for building this out. So really appreciate you joining and leading us through this, and just fantastic.
Thank
A lot of
you,
work
guys.
done in a short period of time. Yeah.
Thank you for
Okay.
thank you for the clear instructions and the great classes that came before this one. It's a pleasure to be a part of this community over here.
Yeah. Same here. Wonderful.
Shout out to Brazil, everybody.
What time is it in Brazil right now?
It's 9:45 a.m.
Okay, not bad, not bad.
Not bad,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Thanks to you both, Tim and Bruno.
thank you guys. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Wednesday, 12 p.m. is the next session. See you all again. Take care.
Awesome, guys.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.